Give everyone a couple minutes to hop in. Hope everyone's Wednesday is going well. Ben, how's your Wednesday going?
Pretty good. We've got a relatively sunny day here in Seattle, so we're always happy when we get some sun in the winter.
Yeah, anytime it's nice in Seattle in January, it's got to be a good day. Would love to hear where everyone else is zooming in from if you want to throw it in the chat. Really excited. We'll just give everyone one more minute and then we'll get started. Happy New Year. Yes, it's also our first webinar of the new year. Exciting.
Got some folks across the coast in Boston, Texas checking in.
Nice. More Texas. Cambridge, fun. We still have a few people coming in, but the great part is we will have this meeting recorded, and so I can definitely share the meeting out afterwards to everybody. But really excited. Thank you everybody for joining, and welcome to our Level Up with Reed webinar. Today we're going to be focusing on our desktop app. So I'm Megan Gibson. I'm on the sales team over here at Reed, and I'm joined by Ben, one of our senior product managers and definitely a product expert. So Ben will be leading our demo today, and we're really excited to show you our new desktop app that we have released. Before we begin, just a couple housekeeping notes. Like I mentioned, this is being recorded, so I can definitely send out the recording afterwards if you want to share it with colleagues or friends or anybody. And then we will also have time at the end for a Q&A, so go ahead and just throw any questions that you have into the chat. And lastly, make sure to stay until the end for us to announce our giveaway winner who will win a free year of Read. But just to tell you just a little bit about Read AI, our mission is to make meetings more productive and actionable. So our platform leverages AI to deliver high quality transcriptions, smart notes, and seamless integrations. So we're really trying to help teams focus on what matters the most for them. And we have heard from a lot of our customers that a desktop experience would make Read just that much better, and just be even more accessible and powerful. So today we're excited to show you all that. Ben, do you want to kind of dive in about why we decided to go with the desktop app?
Yeah, happy to. Thank you. So, the question is, why did we build a desktop app? There was really two main pillars that we were focusing on as we were designing the app. The first one was convenience. So, folks have used Read for a while through our web app, which is a way to add Read to your meetings via a bot that joins on Zoom, Meet, or Teams. Maybe you've tried our mobile apps. But for people who spend a lot of their time on their computer, their desktop or laptop, which is certainly myself, having a native desktop app really was a more convenient way, a convenient interface for people to just interact with Read from their computer. So you're not, juggling between tabs, trying to find where that page is to add Read to the meeting or waiting for that, host to admit your bot to the call. It's really super simple. All you do is open the app and press record. The other pillar is reliability. So Read works really well on the web today for Zoom, Meet, and Teams. But outside of that, there's really no easy way to capture that. Or at least I should say there wasn't any easy way to capture that before the desktop app. Now you can record any conversation that's happening on your computer. It works well for both online and in-person meetings. So it's going to record your microphone as well as the audio coming from your system. And it's really important that this app is reliable. So even if your internet is spotty and you happen to lose connection middle of the recording, we're going to continue to record and capture that audio on your device, and then we'll upload it as soon as that internet comes back. So the key things here obviously is sort of this cross-platform support. So now you can use Read anywhere you want, any meeting. We use Slack a lot in our organization, and so Slack huddles was an area where we weren't able to record them before, and now we can. Maybe you use dialer software if you're a salesperson and you're calling people a lot from your computer. Or again, if you're just in person and you want to have a quick conversation with somebody, it wasn't really convenient for somebody to have to like start a Zoom call, add a bot, wait for it to join, and then you can finally have your in-person meeting. Now, like I said, it's just click of a button and you're off. So I'm gonna show now a little demo of the desktop app. Let me get it pulled up here. Okay. So this is the desktop app. Once you have logged in, or if you don't have an account already, you can create your account first. This is the first screen that you'll see. This is the homepage of the app. And I'm actually going to go and use the handy tour that we have built into the app. So if it's your first time using the app, you'll be prompted to go through this tour automatically, but I can go back and show it at any time from that settings menu here. And so you'll see front and center, or top and center, is the record button. This is the main feature of the desktop app, is being able to record quickly and easily from your computer. So I'm just going to jump right into this and show you what that looks like. I'm going to skip this because we are already recording this, but that's asking whether I want to associate my recording with a particular calendar event. So that way it can be automatically shared out with all the participants on the event. And this is a really important screen here as well. So this is our recording consent reminder. As you all probably know, it's really important that you get consent from everybody when you are taking a recording. We believe that philosophically it's very important to do this just from a general privacy and best practices standpoint, but it's also required by law in certain states or regions. And so this reminder here is to just make sure that you're always getting that consent from participants before you start to record. And there's also this handy blurb here that you can copy and paste. So if you've ever had a meeting with Read, normally we'll join as a bot and we'll send a message out in the meeting chat right at the start of the meeting that lets everybody know, hey, we're here, we're recording. If you don't want to be recorded, you can opt out very easily, either by typing opt out in the chat or by clicking on a link. And so this is that same experience, except now it's just a copy and paste. So you can copy this to your clipboard, and you'll see in here actually there's a URL that anybody could click on that would then allow them to opt out of that recording, and that would delete the recording if they didn't feel comfortable, or if maybe something was said that they didn't mean to say or whatever. That option is always available. If you don't want to be reminded about this every time, that is always a requirement. You always make sure to get consent. Your organization is fully aware that you're always recording, etc. You can disable this reminder so that it doesn't show up every single time. And then once we start recording, we will see the main, what we call the live dashboard. So the first thing you see here is where the live transcript is going to show up as we talk. It takes a little while to get started here, but once it goes, you'll see my transcript coming in real time. So this is a great way to keep track of what was said in a conversation, especially maybe if you happen to get distracted for a moment, you got an email or a message on the side that took your attention away. When you come back here, you can see what was spoken. There's also a place where you can take your own notes manually. So obviously, one of the main benefits of Read is that we take notes for you, but maybe there was a specific thought that came to mind, perhaps something that wasn't even mentioned during the meeting, but something you just want to make sure you remember for yourself. So you can add those notes in here manually. You can just type whatever you want. When you add the note, it'll actually also get marked with a timestamp, so you'll know exactly when you took that note. Helpful for context when you go back to look at it later. And these notes will appear in the report that gets generated at the end of the call. This notice here is to remind you that these notes are actually just private to yourself. So unlike the main transcript and summary and notes that get generated, those get shared with everybody who has access. These notes are just for you. At the top is the recording controls. So here's your stop button when you're ready to stop recording. You also see this waveform animation, which is showing feedback as I'm talking. So this is a great indicator if, say, your microphone isn't hooked up or there's some other issue with your audio and you don't see this moving at all. That's a good indication that you didn't select the right input. And with that, note there's also a way to change your input here if you have multiple different microphones to choose from. So this is also, okay, so here you see the live transcript that was coming through. I'm also going to mention that we have access to Search Copilot straight from the live dashboard. So Search Copilot is it's not just a search tool, but it's also just an LLM interface. So you can use it to chat with your content. You can use it to generate new outputs. But one really nice feature we have in here is this convenient catch me up button. So like I said before, if say you weren't there at the start of the meeting or got distracted, you can click on this button and it's just going to ask Search Copilot to summarize what happened. This was not planned, but this is actually a good opportunity for me to show this notification up here in the top right. So one of the benefits of a desktop application is that we can show you these native notifications that appear on your computer to remind you whether it's to start recording, or in this case, it's detecting an issue. Now, this issue is not a real issue. This is because I created a test meeting, so I'm not actually in this. But what this is telling me is that, say I had tried to record a call with Reed, and for some reason, my bot wasn't able to join the call. Maybe the host forgot to let it in, or their Zoom settings weren't configured properly to allow guests to join the call, and so it failed to start. So this is a great way to just say, hey, your bot recording wasn't working. If you click this button here, we can start recording immediately from your computer as a backup option. But yeah, so going back here, it'll give me a summary of what I missed during the meeting, and I can read through this at my leisure. So this is the main live dashboard. Like I said, you can ask any question you want of Search Copilot. So it's not just going to search the current meeting. It can also search your past meetings. So say, you're in a conversation with a client or a teammate and they ask you a tough question and you know the answer is somewhere in your, past meetings or your notes, but it's just not coming to mind right now. This is a really convenient way to go and quickly just type in that question and get back the answer that you're looking for. So I'm going to stop the recording. And in this case, this was just a test, so I'm just going to delete it. But you can obviously choose to upload it if you wanted to save that recording. And once you do that, that would start to generate a report. Um, so here, we're just going to show the rest of the homepage. So you can see the main panel here, the top section is today's meetings. This is just a list of the meetings that you have upcoming on your calendar. You can also see whether or not Reed is already scheduled to join this meeting as a bot. That's what added means. And if it's not, I could press this Add Reed AI button right here, and then that immediately adds it so that when that meeting comes, Reed's going to join automatically. Um, Also, if it's a meeting that's in progress, you can click this button here to start recording that meeting right away. And that way you'll have a recording on your computer that is tied to that event. And so it can, again, be shared automatically with the participants. The section down here is just easy access to your recent reports. So this is a new test account that I set up here, so I don't actually have any reports yet to show. But once you did have some reports, they would just get listed down here. And then if you wanted to go and view all the reports, there's a button there. We already saw Search Copilot, but it's not only accessible during a meeting, you can get it to it at any point from the desktop app. That button in the bottom right will open it up at any time. And then, of course, there's our navigation on the left side, so you can see some of the other pages that we have in the desktop app. So I'll talk through some of those other pages now. So the first one being the rest of the reports. So you can view all of your reports either by clicking on the reports menu here or clicking view all here. They both go to the same place. And this is your full list of all of your meeting reports. Right now, again, this is a brand new test account, so all we have in here are actually some sample reports. Um, but I can click into any one of these and show you what a meeting report looks like. So with the desktop app, it looks a little bit different than the web interface if you're used to that, but it has all of the same core features. You've got the video and audio playback up at the top. If you don't want to use that, or you're just looking through the notes, you can collapse that view to make more room for the rest of the notes. And so you've got your summary at the top, action items that are extracted automatically, key questions that were detected. Here's where your private notes would show up if you had taken any during that meeting. And then we have a more in-depth breakout of the meeting in this chapters and topics section. So this is just like a more detailed summary. And then, of course, the transcript. Um, and like I said, Search Copilot is always accessible. In this case, when I start a new thread, it actually knows which meeting report I'm looking at. So by default, it's going to suggest that I'm just searching this particular report. Say I wanted to find something that was said in the report, or I wanted to synthesize some of the conversation. Maybe there was a lot of back and forth, and I'm just trying to figure out, all right, what was the actual key decision that was made out of all this long-winded discussion. You can ask it here and you'll get back a response right away. But if you do want to search across all of your content, there's this handy filter menu down here that you can use to instead search over everything. Or you can even apply some custom filters if you say only wanted to look at, you know, your Zoom meetings and not your Meet meetings or any one of these different apps if you have those connected. Um, I'm also going to show you the calendar page. So this is where you see your upcoming meetings and in particular whether or not Reed is scheduled to join. So one thing that I want to try to make clear is with the desktop app, you now actually have two ways to capture a meeting. The let's call it the old way of doing it was with our meeting bot. So a bot would join the call, it would appear just like a participant on the call, and it would record the meeting that way. Uh, this works really well. It's great from a transparency standpoint. Everybody can see when the bot is on the call. People can kick the bot from the call, but it has its own host of issues. If you've ever tried to use a meeting bot before, you probably encountered some kind of technical difficulty at one point or another, whether that was, the host didn't have the right settings configured to allow a bot to join the call, or the host just doesn't show up, and so they aren't able to let the bot into the call. And with the desktop app, you can choose to still use a bot if you have this setting enabled. It's going to join automatically, so that way you still don't have to remember to start the recording from your computer. It's also a really convenient option if you're not even going to be in that particular meeting and you just want to send the bot on your behalf so that you can get the notes after the fact. Um, but if you're there, you don't have to use the bot anymore. You can turn this off and then you can just record from the desktop app instead. So you have that choice. Um, there's also the Search Copilot page, which you talked about. And then we also have our folders page. This is a pretty new feature we've just announced recently, but folders are really just a convenient way to organize all of your meeting reports. When you get a report, we actually generate automatic tags or smart folders for you, but then you can create your own custom ones to keep track of things. So say maybe you want a folder for one particular project that you're working on, or a client that you're engaged with, or anything that you want. And then now you can also actually share all of the content in those folders with other people so that they can get access to all of that content all at once rather than having to go and share each individual report. This is a really great way, especially to help onboard new people to your team. So if you have like, a large knowledge base of helpful meetings that you want to share with somebody, this way you can just kind of add them to the folder when they come into your team and they instantly get access to all of that content. I'm just going to talk about a couple of more advanced features in the desktop app, and you can find these from the settings. But so there's a couple of ways that you can customize the app. You can choose whether you want to use the light or dark theme. So if you are like many people, you don't like the harsh white light, maybe you prefer everything to be in dark mode, that's an option. Otherwise, system preference will just make it match whatever your operating system is set to, whether it's a light mode or dark mode. automatically launch Read on startup so that it's always there and will always remember to start recording whenever you have a meeting. And then this next one is really interesting. It's the desktop toolbar. So you've seen the main app window, but there's also this cool feature that is accessible if you close out the window, which is our floating toolbar here. So this is just like a little widget basically that lives on your screen and is a really handy way to just quickly start recording whenever you need to, so you don't have to pull up the whole app. You can also submit a search straight from here. But either way, it's just basically a shortcut into the application. We also have there's that recording consent reminder setting. Um, there's also the ability to save these recordings to your computer. So maybe you just want to make sure you always have a copy of that audio recording. Don't want to worry about, waiting until it gets processed to go back and play it. This basically just takes a copy of that file and writes it to your computer. And by default, we pick a location in your user folder, but you can choose to save it wherever you want. It's up to you. Otherwise, if you don't save it, then the recording will just be kept on your computer temporarily while we're processing it. And then once it's finished uploading, it gets deleted from your computer automatically. So that way we're not, filling up your hard drive if you don't care about having those recordings saved on your device. And the last section here I'll talk about is our notifications. So I mentioned the notification that showed up earlier. We have a few different notifications you can choose from. The first one we saw was that recording issue. So if your bot is having a trouble joining a meeting, then it'll prompt you to say, do you want to record on your computer instead? We also have the auto detect meetings notification. So this is great. Again, if you're, constantly jumping around, maybe, you're context switching, you're in a meeting with somebody in person, it might be hard to remember to start that recording, especially if you're used to using the bot that would often join automatically. So this notification is there to serve as a reminder that, hey, you got a meeting started. Do you want to start recording? And then it's just a simple click of a button to get that going. The way that this actually works is by detecting either you have a calendar event that's scheduled to start with a meeting app added to the event, or if you just start to use an app that has an active microphone input, we can detect that and say, hey, it looks like you're providing microphone input into an app. Do you want to record that? Maybe you don't actually ever use, say, Discord for your meetings. Maybe you only use that in your personal life. And so you would never use Read on that app. You could choose to not get notified by certain apps. That way you can manage which notifications you get and keep that notification noise to a minimum. So that's really just notifying you of the things that you care about. There's also a notification for upcoming meetings, so that it can remind you if you've got a meeting coming up in 10 minutes and say you wanted to add the bot to the call so that it's just going to be there automatically at the start. And then another notification when you do have a recording already going or you have a meeting that's just started, there's just a notification kind of similar to your calendar notification. So, if you're already getting notifications from your Read app, maybe you can choose to mute your calendar notifications so that you're not getting redundant ones. You get them all in one place, both your recording reminders and your event reminders. So that's really it as far as the app features go. I'm going to stop there and we'll I think turn it back for questions.
Yes, we have some great ones that have been asked throughout. So I'll start with those, and then if there's any more, just feel free to throw them in the chat. But Ben asked a really good question. How many speakers can be identified in the in-person microphone pickup?
Yeah, very good question. So we have a built-in speaker detection model that will be able to separate out speakers by essentially the qualities of their voice. So, if you have two people who sound really similar, maybe we won't be able to figure them out, if you're identical twins or something. But otherwise, it's actually really good at separating out voices that maybe sound similar to a human, but are actually distinct, especially once you get it analyzed by our software. And so that will work. for the microphone, and it'll also work from any audio coming from your speaker. The one thing to note is that the live transcript doesn't do this speaker detection. The live transcript is just going to be all one feed essentially, because it's a more powerful model. We need to kind of look at the full scope of the recording to really analyze those voice patterns and make sure we're identifying the right people to the right segments.
Perfect. And Thomas asked, I don't know if we'll have an answer to this one, but when will there be an API for me as a developer? Webhooks works, but does not scale for a product that I'm building out on top of Read.
Wow, that's actually a very good question, a very timely one. So we are in the process of rolling out an API and an MCP server right now. We are still in a closed beta period. However, if you're interested, we can get your information and get you added to that right now. So Thomas Olson, we've got your name logged here, and I'll make sure to get you added. But we will be quickly moving into an open beta and then a GA in the coming month or so. So yeah, it's available, almost available to everybody right now. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Adonis mentioned when they have overlapping events, they'd like the option to choose which event the recording should be associated with. So are they able to do that now?
Yes, absolutely. So that process that I showed you actually when I click start recording, if there's more than one event, we're going to try to pick the one that we think is most likely. And if it's not for that event, you would just decline it at that point. We are working on an update to that interface actually right now to make it a lot easier to pick the right meeting. So if there was a different one that you wanted to record instead of that one, you'll be able to do that after the recording is done. But the other thing I'll note, and I'll go and show this again real quick, is before that you start recording, if you've got multiple meetings in progress, they'll all show up here. And then you just click record next to the meeting that you want to actually capture, and that will automatically tie it to that meeting that you clicked on.
Perfect. And then another question, can you download transcripts from the desktop app?
Yep. Yes, you can. So you can download any of the content that you can get from the web app. There's a download button in the desktop app as well.
Perfect. And then also a question about the report you showed identified the speakers by name. So we kind of touched on this, but does the desktop version do that with people in person? But we kind of touched on that. It'll identify by the different speakers.
Yeah, it will split it up by speaker. And in that case, obviously, we don't know all the names of the folks. So it'll just be like a speaker one, speaker two, and you kind of have to go and add that in after the fact. Um, but yes, it will allow it to split up.
Then we also have a question if we have any plan for a Discord integration.
So not currently planned to have a direct integration with Discord, but the desktop app is a perfectly functional way to record Discord calls. So, like I showed earlier, that was one of the apps that we actually detect and will notify you of if your microphone is active during it. So you should be able to capture any call on Discord from a desktop computer. Um, and that, yeah, so hopefully that's a good enough stopgap for now, at least.
And then a couple questions about our newer feature folders. Can folders be auto-created?
So the only folders that get auto-created are the ones that we detect ourselves. So these are basically just like a preset list of different types of meetings that we try to categorize these into. Beyond that, all of the folders have to be created by you. We have considered and are looking into potentially making it so that you can sort of define a smart folder yourself and then automatically add things to that in the future. We hope that people really like to use the folders feature, and we'll continue to expand those functions as we go.
And another question about folders. If we create a client folder, can we search the folder to search across all of John Doe's client meetings?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the best uses of a folder today is that it makes it really easy to run a search query or a prompt across all of the content within that folder. So you don't have to worry about is it getting the right context or not. It's going to automatically include everything in the folder.
And then a question about Search Copilot, or maybe we have an idea of when this could be available, but is there a chance you can attach a file or image when searching through Copilot?
Hmm. I love that request. We have
Same.
plans to add that. Yes. There's already been some progress made on the back end side, but it's yeah, I can't say exactly when it's going to be available, but it's in the works.
And then we'll do one more question and then announce the giveaway winner. Can your in-app AI add people's names if they make themselves known at the start of the meeting? So like if they introduce themselves.
Yeah, currently no, but that is a request we've received before, and so it is on our radar, and I would love to add that feature at some point.
Awesome. Well, our giveaway winner today is Lisa Diaz. So thank you. Congrats, Lisa. I will follow up with you via email. We also, once again, this was recorded, so happy to share it out. And I have the chat recorded as well. So definitely we'll be able to reach out to those that asked for it, as well as send follow-ups. But thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Ben, for running a great demo. And hopefully we'll see you all next month for our next Level Up with Reed webinar.
Thanks, Megan.
Bye,
Thanks, everyone.
everybody.